Well, I've been very fortunate to do, not just the sports car races there, not just the Rolex 24, but we also did the shorter races, the night races.
Yeah.
We did when I did NASCAR, I did the Coca-Cola 600. I mean, no, sorry, the Pepsi
400.
Pepsi
Yep.
400. Did the Daytona 500. And there's those magical racetracks. Indianapolis is one of those magical racetracks. Daytona is one of those magical racetracks. And for me, my first race was there in 1985. And, that's a couple years ago. So getting that opportunity to go back and race at one, a track that is truly historic, and two, where you've had incredible success, ends up being just a perfect storm of what's meant to be.
Over 50 years, I'm sure you get asked this a lot, but what is it? Is it race memories? Is it particular moments? What stands out to you about this, I won't just call it a career, this journey that you've been on for 5 decades?
Wow, there's so many great races. There's been, more than anything else, when I look back, getting the opportunity to drive with all these great drivers. I mean, Mario Andretti, Michael Andretti, Al Unser Jr., Al Unser Sr., Emerson Fittipaldi, Rick Mears, going to Europe, racing go-karts with Ayrton Senna. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, when you start looking, current guys, Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, Scott Dixon, in all these different forms. You got NASCAR, you got IndyCar, you got sports cars, and because I've done all those different things and have raced all those different racers and racetracks, when I look at the big scheme of things, having the opportunity to race with all those great race car drivers is probably one of those things that is going to be most cherished for me.
You've done everything. As you said, the drivers you've raced against, the cars you've raced in, you've done NASCAR, sports cars, open wheel, IROC at one point, invited to do that. Is that part of your legacy that you're particularly proud of, the versatility and the amount of different things that you've been able to do?
Most certainly. I mean, when you look at those great race car drivers, and you know AJ Foyt, Mario Andretti, Dan Gurney, they raced all those. They raced anything they got in. They did very, very, very well at it. And being able to somewhat do that same thing has been great for me, and I really cherished having that opportunity to race in all those different races with all those different race cars and doing all those different things.
Does it still amaze you that people are starting to put you in the same breath as some of those guys?
Humbling, more than anything
Yeah.
else. It's I've just had my head down, for all these years, is racing, focusing, because the reality is, I've lived my life 1 year at a time, 1 year contracts, and typically you're as good as your last season. And if you're doing the right thing and you win in races, you continue on. And so when we first started talking about, okay, how and when and what and how, what's it going to feel like, what's it going to look like, initially I was like, well, I'll just go do my last race and be done with it. And everybody's going, whoa, you can't. And so when we made the announcement, I think I've been humbled the most with the outreach of fans, telling me all these wonderful things about where they met me, or how they've watched me, or how they followed me, or how they are going to be at Daytona from last race, or whatever. And it's bigger than what I thought it could have been.
5 overall wins in the Rolex 24, tied with Hurley for the most ever. All the success, the championships that you had with Chip, first with Max back in the middle of the 2000s, and then with Mamo later on. What stands out from you from that time? Because there was a period where people would ask, well, gosh, is he ever going to lose?
And what a great position that was. And there's all of it's wonderful. I just cannot pick out one thing, one moment, because there's so many great. I mean, when you've been doing it as long as I have, there's, especially as I've now gone back and I'm looking through my archives of things and stuff and people and pictures, of going, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Oh yeah, I forgot forgot about that too. Oh, for instance, I've ran 3 full seasons of Trans Am, and I won 3 championships. My first ever Trans Am race, I signed up that morning in Riverside and started last. I was driving for Jack Roush. I raced in Charlotte on Saturday, flew out to race at Riverside on Sunday, started last, joined the SCCA that morning, and then went on to win the race. So, but there's moments after moments after moments after moments like that, and you just can't pick one.
How much or how important the chapter in sports cars when you came back and started on the roll with Chip, what does his support and all the time you guys spent racing together meant to you in the grand scope?
It's been great. I call him, hey boss. Still do call him boss.
Still?
Yeah, absolutely. We had, we broke the record books.
Yeah.
And to do it with that organization, with Chip, and the leadership that he provides, and the people that have been, Mike Hull and that whole group right underneath him, was a very special time. And it was pretty cool when IMSA put a bounty on our heads for the first team that was going to beat us, because we had all that success. We almost had a perfect season. I think we won 10 of 12 races that year, then finished second in those other 2. So special times for sure.
When you look back, most North American sports car wins in history, the championships tied at the top of the Rolex 24 list. I've heard people in the past start to refer to you possibly as the greatest sports car driver, at least on this continent, that there's ever been. When you sit back and listen to people that say that, what goes through your mind at that point? Would you ever have thought when you first started that was even a possibility?
No, not at all. And there's guys out there calling me the GOAT, and it's I guess one of these days I'll sit back on my porch and have a glass of wine, because we're doing that now as well. Have a glass of wine and look back at all those wonderful times. But right now, my focus is my last race, the Rolex 24 this weekend with Lexus and my teammates, and with a little bit of luck, hopefully we can have a solid finish.
And time after racing, I know you're going to continue as a Lexus ambassador too.
Continuing on with Lexus as ambassador, Pruett Vineyard, which has taken off. We've now twice had the highest rated Syrah in the world, and I do all the winemaking. So it's been a number of different chapters yet to unfold, for sure.
Out of everything you've done, any regrets at all? Anything that you wish you could have done?
Yeah, the only thing, the biggest things would be winning the Indy 500 and winning a NASCAR race. Short of that, everything else is good.
And I guess this is where you get to say, after 3 o'clock Sunday afternoon when that checkered flag drops, time to go, instead of saying hi to the wife and kids at home, you get to go home to the wife and kids, don't you?
Yeah, hi to my family at home. The great thing is they're all going to be there. Yeah. So it is going to be a little weird, waking up Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday morning going, okay, so what's next on my agenda?
But relaxing, I'm sure, in a way that you get to decide what's next. There's not a set.
Yeah, totally looking forward to, like I said, totally looking forward to the next chapter, and I'll be thinking about that come a week today.